What's up guys, welcome back. This is anime crossover. You'll be watching What If Naruto Was Almost Killed by Goku Part 6. Now, let's begin. What's up? Vegeta continued his actions despite Nappa's urgent pleas, even as he placed himself within the blast's vicinity. He could not cease his actions at this point, for doing so would signify that he had been consistently outsmarted by Naruto, revealing himself as the true fool in this scenario. The legend consistently stood by his side, attentively listening as he shared his aspirations of one day becoming a Super Saiyan, fully aware of the improbability of such a dream. I cannot accept this situation. With a decisive growl, Vegeta unleashed his Gallic gun upon Naruto's chest, firmly pressing it against the white armor. Gallic gun. A purple hemisphere of energy enveloped the duo, leaving the audience in astonishment. Vegeta was exerting his full power in this instance, executing the planet-busting attack as depicted in the original narrative. However, this time, it was solely Naruto who was enduring the brunt of the entire assault. Naruto. This brief antagonist. He is quite unsatisfactory. Launch gasped, covering her mouth with her hands, while Pai Pai and Bulma, seated beside her, appeared visibly displeased as well. With her naturally sharp nails digging into the titanium chair, Pai Pai expressed her frustration by slapping her tail against the ground. As cracks began to appear on the floor, Bulma displayed her displeasure, directing a pointed gaze at Pai Pai. "Please lower your voice, you might disturb those two." Bulma expressed her displeasure, prompting Pai Pai to glance over in surprise before returning her attention to the two infants peacefully resting on the bed. One possessed a mermaid tail, while the other boy featured a monkey tail, showcasing that unique characteristic associated with Naruto's family. The distinctive hairstyle shared by Bardock, Goku, and Goten, a testament to their strong genetic lineage, was once again prominently displayed in this boy. Reflecting on the moment, Launch gestured towards the two and chuckled in a lighthearted manner. Observing the clarity returning to her previously dazed eyes, it appeared she had successfully assured herself of Naruto's safety. "Naruto is secure. I have just verified the otherworld, he has not arrived yet." As both women expressed their relief, Launch approached the children and gently poked the boy she had brought into this world on the cheek. Such an endearing young man. Who could have anticipated that the evening she spent with Naruto would lead to this outcome? Even Naruto was unaware, as she only discovered this after her departure to the otherworld. "After an extended absence, I was unable to return until a week ago, having missed Naruto during that period. The regulations of the otherworld and the primary magician's rules of Earth were quite frustrating. Rest assured, there is no need for concern regarding these two. Little Bardock is a deep sleeper and will remain quiet even in his early moments in the otherworld. I had concerns that something was amiss, but then Baba clarified the situation for me. It seems he simply wished to reunite with Naruto." The final statement was delivered in a subdued tone by Launch, who was also aware of the reason the other infant approached so swiftly from Pai Pai. These two may appear to be ordinary infants at present, but this is due to their purification and reincarnation. It resembles the scenario involving Majin Buu and Uub, though Launch has chosen not to disclose this information to anyone else. She will convey it to Naruto directly at a later time. The discussion among the women was abruptly interrupted by a loud crashing noise from the television. Upon turning their attention to it, they witnessed something remarkable. Boom 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 on the battlefield, Naruto advanced with determination, his hands firmly gripping Vegeta's face, while his armor remained impeccably pristine. Vegeta shouted as he was pulled through a series of buildings, his head serving as a force of destruction. Naruto utilized Vegeta's entire physique to excavate the tough concrete and metal framework, persistently advancing and creating a substantial cavity wherever he proceeded. Indeed, upon completing the row of buildings, Naruto observed the lifeless form of Vegeta, bloodied and hanging limply. With a firm grip, Naruto seized Vegeta's face, the sound of cracking teeth echoing in the air. He then lifted the unconscious prince, bringing him closer for a better look. "Vegeta, it seems you continue to struggle with accepting defeat. As I mentioned before, overcoming me is beyond your capabilities. I may have reached a level of strength comparable to Frieza, and I continue to develop further. My growth is constant, occurring every minute and every second. This is the reality. Vegeta, it is time to acknowledge your defeat so that I can bring this farce to a conclusion." While Naruto conveyed this to Vegeta, he was not nearly on the same level as Frieza, not even in his initial form, let alone his final form, at this moment. He found himself in a challenging situation, as pushing further could lead to transforming into Uzaru, thereby forfeiting the natural benefits of ki containment that his Saiyan form offers in Akari. I could potentially replicate Broly's action of severing my tail, thereby forfeiting the capacity to transform into Uzaru. However, it is important to note that Broly's situation was unique. He had been transforming into Uzaru for an extended period and experienced multiple phases of tail regrowth during his childhood. However, I can no longer train in that manner. I have reached an age where regrowing my tail, similar to Vegeta, is no longer possible. If I attempt that, I risk losing Akari completely. In light of that possibility, Naruto opted not to sever his tail in pursuit of achieving the complete Akari, or what he referred to as the mortal god form. Akari demonstrated significant potential. Broly was initially struggling against Super Saiyan Vegeta in his base form. However, upon utilizing Akari, he gained the upper hand, ultimately surpassing them in power. Nevertheless, that marked the pinnacle of his abilities. Blue Goku had the potential to overcome him once more, as that represented the maximum strength Akari could achieve. This was the primary reason for Frieza's frustration. Broly was unable to achieve Super Saiyan form and was being outmatched by Goku in his blue form. If this were the previous version of Broly, he would have continued to gain strength without any boundaries. However, the canon Broly demonstrates defined logical limits. To achieve greater power, he must transform into Akari and Super Saiyan, respectively. However, the most advantageous aspect is that these forms are not exclusive to Broly. Unlike his green-haired form, everything else is something I can duplicate. As Naruto contemplated his potential power enhancements and strategies to overcome Frieza, the injured Saiyan Prince unexpectedly coughed. Inhale, exhale, inhale. Vegeta's labored breathing snapped Naruto back to reality, reminding him that he had previously placed the prince on the ground some time ago. This is quite frustrating. Vegeta expressed his disdain, as from his position below, he could only see Naruto's feet. The Prince of all Saiyans found himself in a subservient position, lying at the feet of another. However, Vegeta found himself unable to muster the energy to rise, as the earlier Gallic gun had inflicted more damage on him than on Naruto, compounded by the subsequent defeat he had just endured. I am quite frustrated. Unfortunately, this is quite frustrating. Vegeta struck the damaged pavement, gazing up at Naruto with an expression that appeared to be on the verge of tears, whether from pain or the shattering of his pride. That was information known solely to Vegeta. Additionally, Naruto was aware as well. You are not being truthful. This cannot be the case. I was meant to achieve Super Saiyan status. I am a super elite. You are merely a lower tier Saiyan. How is it that you are considered one of the legends? I should have been the one. Prince Vegeta. Vegeta struck the floor, tears visibly streaming down his face, while Naruto regarded him with a stern expression. He understood that Vegeta was deeply affected, feeling that Naruto had always been aware of his struggles yet chose to treat him as a source of amusement. This wounded his pride more than anything else. The Saiyan Prince was not in a position to experience remorse at this time. Inferior class. Do not deceive yourself, Vegeta. My father is Bardock. I am certain you are familiar with him. He garnered widespread recognition as a low-class warrior who ascended through the ranks independently. With a confident smirk, Naruto proceeded. I am his son, Naruto. Wasn't this the primary reason for my inclusion in your esteemed squad? The underlying reason for this may have been the influence of the Dragon Balls, operating through Bardock's status to ensure Raditz's survival during the planet's explosion. It is possible that Bardock's potential influenced the king's decision to place his son, Raditz, on a team with Vegeta. Ultimately, everything can be attributed to Bardock. Bardock. With a swift strike to the chest, Naruto incapacitated Vegeta. Vegeta was once again prepared to elaborate on how everything was merely a fortunate coincidence, affirming that he would never cease to embody the Saiyan Prince. Naruto decided to cease his attempts to persuade the individual. He concluded that it would be more effective to return Vegeta to the Frieza force, allowing them to manage the situation from that point onward. Nappa, please proceed with the announcement of the results. Nappa transitioned from a look of shock to a broad smile. Nappa, expressing his relief, hurried towards Naruto and gracefully fell to the floor in a bow. My king, Nappa is at your disposal. Nappa's face was consistently adorned with a genuine smile of relief. Not only had he survived, but he also understood that the legendary Saiyan was always by their side. And received training from the individual directly. It was a profound honor for him to serve the new Saiyan King, particularly given his decision to spare Vegeta's life, recognizing him as one of his own. Frieza, prepare yourself, the legend you dreaded has now become a reality. Nappa raised his gaze, determined to embed the regal image of Naruto in his memory. It is possible that his appearance, reminiscent of royal attire, was intentional and part of a larger strategy. The poignant moment of Nappa committing his allegiance to Naruto was abruptly disrupted by a harsh voice. What does this signify? What is preventing you from concluding the task? Piccolo's words pierced the atmosphere, his gaze fixed on Vegeta's unconscious form, while the other Z fighters appeared uncertain as well, though they did not express their concerns as directly as Piccolo did. They had confidence in Naruto's judgment, and Gohan appeared to be on the verge of addressing Piccolo. However, Piccolo's stern gaze deterred him from speaking up. I am quite frustrated. Nappa glared at the Namekian, his growl indicating his disdain for the audacity to disrupt this solemn moment. King, please allow me to handle this situation. I will ensure he understands the consequences of his actions. Nappa's furious remarks did not provoke a reaction from Piccolo. He was not so easily intimidated when compared to base Nappa. However, Naruto did not seem particularly troubled by the situation. After all, this was Piccolo, and even Krillin had expressed a desire to defeat Vegeta in the original storyline. Their present uncertainty stemmed solely from his presence. Much like when Goku requested Krillin to release Vegeta, they had enough trust in him to comply. There is no need for concern, Nappa, I comprehend their apprehensions. Seeing Piccolo's tense body, Naruto couldn't help but smirk. Hey, there's no need to be so tense, Namekian. Whoosh. Wow, that was loud. Piccolo's eyes went wide when Naruto suddenly showed up and kneed him right in the stomach. Og. Piccolo collapsed to the ground, his eyes bloodshot and his hands clutching his stomach. The Z fighters were totally taken aback by this unexpected attack, but Piccolo wasn't feeling that way just yet, so they held off on attacking Naruto. Gohan quickly dashed over to Piccolo, his eyes welling up with tears, but he held them back and didn't cry. Please, don't hurt Mr. Piccolo. Gohan expressed his belief, feeling a mix of fear and determination. The near loss of Piccolo shook him to his core, pushing him to actively work on overcoming his fear. Naruto glanced over at the downed Piccolo and shot a grin at Gohan. Back off, kid. This is payback. He took me down, so I took him down hard. Come on, get up and say something. Don't make me look down on you, Namekian. Gohan raised his hands in front of Piccolo, shooting an angry glance at Naruto. Absolutely not. You can't hurt Mr. Piccolo. Come on, Gohan, cut it out. Cough. Piccolo pulled Gohan back and looked at Naruto with a serious expression. Even though Gohan was a bit puzzled, everyone else seemed to get it. This was just something warriors knew. Piccolo was a bit cautious around Naruto due to his past role, so he was asking him questions with a bit of a sharp edge. So, are you saying that this attack means our feud is finally over? After trying to get up, Piccolo stood a bit unsteadily, but he wasn't looking angry anymore. He preferred this over false words and fancy promises. It was a language he understood well enough. Naruto made it clear he could take him out at any moment, but he decided against it. Instead, he stepped up to resolve their conflict, which was more than enough for Piccolo to see his good intentions. Once he steadied himself, Piccolo let out a breath, and just like that, his white cape appeared on him. I really want that clothes beam. I really want it. Naruto felt a warm smile inside and approached Piccolo with a friendly grin. With a playful smirk, Naruto stood over Piccolo and wrapped his arms around him from the side, his left hand gripping him while his right hand held onto Piccolo's head. Hey there. Piccolo shot a fiery glare at Naruto, as if the earlier comment about being cool had really struck a nerve. He was really showing who's boss, and the worst part, Piccolo was completely stuck after Naruto got a hold of him. Haha, Namekian, I'm really happy we could work things out. Today feels like a great day. Lighten up a bit, how about I call you Piccolo? I think we could be great friends. Haha, with his teeth bared, Piccolo growled at Naruto, but the whole scene was pretty amusing since he was still stuck in a friendly hug from Naruto. Let me go. I'm really not looking to be friends with you. Piccolo's shout just got a bunch of stifled laughs from the Z fighters, and even Gohan couldn't help but smile, leaving Piccolo's face flushed with embarrassment. Laughing out loud once more, Naruto finally let Piccolo go. He had already figured out what he needed to do. Hey, that's your loss. You could have been friends with a king. I might have even taken you to visit Namek, your home planet. Piccolo narrowed his eyes and scowled. He wasn't thrilled about being put in his place just now. He was definitely planning to get back at him. Naruto and Goku were two obstacles he needed to deal with before he could take over the world. Even though he was still pondering that thought, deep down he realized this wasn't his goal anymore. Gohan had impacted him more than he would ever acknowledge. Anyway, Naruto's been avoiding that question for a bit, but Piccolo's not going to let him get away with it. I'll check out Namek myself. So, what's your plan with that guy? With a serious expression, Naruto spoke quietly. He's a real danger. Once he gets stronger, he's definitely coming back to take us out. But you know, even with all his flaws, Vegeta has that Saiyan pride. He lost the royal duel, and he's going to honor it, even if it really gets under his skin. Shrugging his shoulders, he turned to glance at Vegeta's unconscious body being carried by Nappa and said it again. He won't care about anything else until he shows he's stronger than me. He'll never be able to beat me, no matter what. Piccolo let out a light snort, taking in Naruto's confident words without saying a thing. He picked up Gohan, turned around, and started to head out. If he comes back, that's on you. Whoosh. Right away, Piccolo took off with Gohan waving behind him. It looks like someone has figured out that Naruto isn't a bad guy anymore. I mean, he really can't be, right? He even let Mr. Piccolo and his friends go, and let's not forget, he's family too. With a chuckle, Naruto pointed at Nappa. Send him over to Frieza Base 141. They always have some extra healing pods on hand. Nappa nodded at Naruto, looking like he had something on his mind. After a moment, he decided to just go for it and speak up. King, I really think it would be a good idea to take care of Vegeta. He's not going to back down until he gets you. Naruto let out a sigh after becoming a mum. I'll give him one chance. There aren't many of us left, Nappa, and I wouldn't want to take out an elite. I get where you're coming from. If he comes back and messes this up, I'll have to deal with him. I can't have disloyal Saiyans who go against their king. Nappa smiled as he saluted Naruto and headed over to put Vegeta in his space pod. He decided to leave a voice message on Vegeta's scouter, just to give him a heads up one last time. For old time's sake, he really hoped Vegeta wouldn't let his pride get the best of him later on. Vegeta was quietly sent back to the Frieza force, and the Z fighters were starting to realize the aftermath of this battle. They had broken bones, torn muscles, and some pretty big wounds. Overall, they were beaten up pretty badly. You know, that really hit me hard, it still stings a bit. Krillin mumbled to Nappa, who was the person he was talking to. Nappa just smirked as they all flew toward the lookout, with Nappa flying right next to Naruto. Nappa turned to Krillin, a confident smile on his face. Huh, feeling like getting back at someone? I'm up for a challenge whenever you are. Krillin shook his hands in a, no, gesture, beads of sweat forming on his forehead. Really, I was just kidding around. Haha, Nappa chuckled at that but decided not to push it any further. He could tell these guys were linked to his king. Nappa thought of these guys as the Ginyu Force of King Naruto, right? He was like the Zarbon to Lord Naruto. I should definitely fill King in on this arrangement. It's way better than what King Vegeta had going on back in the day. King Vegeta's governing structure wasn't as solid as Frieza's. Sure, Frieza might be pure evil, but he's still the ruler of a big chunk of the universe. Nappa realized there was so much he could learn from this guy, and he was all set to pass that knowledge on to Naruto. In the end, Nappa had pretty much taken on the role of royal advisor all on his own. Hey, do you all feel that? Yamcha suddenly chimed in, pulling Nappa out of his thoughts. He had no clue about this sensing stuff, so he was a bit lost on what this guy was talking about. But just one glance at his king made it clear that this guy meant business. This sensing stuff was definitely the real deal. The Z fighters all felt the energy signature rushing towards them and came to a halt, with Nappa following Naruto's lead and doing the same. An orange figure zipped through the air and came to a halt right in front of the Z fighters, smoothly shifting from a rapid pace to a slow one, showcasing his amazing self-control. Hey everyone! A friendly voice with a warm smile welcomed the Z fighters. Goku. Hey, you're back, Goku. You're too slow, Goku. Brother. Hey, that's Kakarot. What happened to your tail? Everyone was feeling a mix of emotions. Goku had this amazing way of bringing out the best in everyone. Just his presence made joy spread, even when the Z fighters were really down and out. Goku just scratched the back of his head and let out a shy laugh. My bad, I was crossing the snakeway again. I got here as quick as I could. Wow, you all look wiped out. Goku glanced at Nappa and Naruto, noticing Nappa's tail as a clear sign, while he regarded Naruto with a playful, challenging grin. Oh, really? King Kai mentioned that you're still kicking. Naruto crossed his arms and shot Goku a smile of his own. What can I say? You just didn't have what it takes to take me down, Kakarot. Goku grinned with his eyes slightly squinted, clearly getting ready to dive into his playful fighting mode. But just as Goku and Naruto were about to throw down again, Yamcha jumped in, saying no way, he wanted to heal first. They could fight later. Hey, Goku, Naruto handled the Saiyans while we did our best to hold them off, but they were just too strong for us. So, this guy here is Nappa. He chose to team up with Naruto, and guess what? Naruto is the Saiyan King now. Krillin threw another item onto the list. So, he tied the knot with Bulma last week. We all got invited, and I can't wait to show you the pictures later. Goku rubbed his head, looking really disappointed as he let out a groan. Ah, I totally missed Bulma's wedding. Wasn't there cake and food everywhere at an event like that? That's a bummer. Nappa couldn't help but twitch his lips. Seriously, this Kakarot must have taken a hit to the head or something. He completely brushed off everything from the Saiyan King to a wedding, and all he could think about was the food. Even the most laid-back Saiyans show some respect for the Saiyan King. But Naruto couldn't help but laugh at what Goku said. Kakarot, I'm throwing another reception for you. Bring your family along and have a good time, it's on me. Don't be too bummed about not getting to fight. You can always take me on instead. After all, Big Brother needs to get his revenge for almost taking me out back then. With a playful grin that was more cheeky than proud, Goku spoke with confidence. We'll see about that, big bro. It was obvious to Naruto that Goku had accepted him. Not only did Goku let him call him Kakarot, but he also referred to him as Big Brother. It could have been the free food, the chance to save the Earth, or even the excitement of a fight. Maybe it was a mix of all those things that made Goku view him as a big brother rather than a threat. Honestly, Naruto wasn't about to complain. I mean, he had a future god calling him Big Brother. What could be a bigger honor than that? Excellent. Let's get going. These guys are in pretty bad shape. We will have our battle on the lookout. There's plenty of room. Alright, now we're chatting. Hey, let's go. Goku motioned for everyone to keep up, and the Z fighters chuckled as they flew back towards the lookout. Goku was in front, beside Naruto and Nappa, with Naruto at the heart of the group as they flew. While making small talk with Goku, Naruto wondered if he should let Kami undo whatever he had done to Goku's tail to prevent it from growing. He'll have to see if Goku is willing to go through with it, and he'll discuss it with Kami later. The group of Z fighters landed on the lookout, and Kami was waiting for them with his back straight and his cane straighter. Kami spoke while smiling, his wrinkles increasing with age. You saved the Earth again. Well done, as Earth's Kami, I thank you. Goku, you are a bit late this time around. Kami's humorous remark caused Goku to laugh with an uncomfortable smile. Goku exclaimed as he put his hands together. I'm so sorry. I was late on the snake way. Naruto, let's battle. Nobody was surprised by the rapid change of topic. After all, Goku had been training for a year to face the Saiyans. He was in full combat mode right now, and it's surprising he was able to halt till now. It may be because the gang was hurt and he wanted them to seek treatment first. Naruto folded his hands and agreed right away. It would be strange if he lived in Dragon Ball and didn't battle Goku, and there was also revenge. I don't mind, but first, Kami, I heard you did something to make sure Kakarot doesn't regrow his tail. Can you remove that spell or whatever you did? Saiyans cannot regrow tails after a certain age, although Goku's was sealed or stopped before then. If Goku has a regrown tail that Kami has concealed and deactivated, he may be able to reclaim it. But if it is a surgical and magical removal, Goku's tail may be a lost cause. He is past the regenerative stage at this time. His tail. Well, I suppose I could remove the spell binding it. I see the Saiyans can control their transformations. Kami turned to Nappa and said the following word. Would you be helping Goku control his? Kami had only seen Nappa do it up until now. He didn't pay attention to Naruto or the tournament because he was too busy teaching the Z Warriors. Before Nappa could respond, Goku did. My tail. So, why would I want that back? Nappa snapped at Goku, berating him. Kakarot, that's your Saiyan heritage, you can't just cast it away like that. Naruto added from the sides. It makes you stronger. That's a transformation of our species, it's controllable, think of it as a power boost. You will be able to fight stronger opponents with it. Rubbing his chin, Goku was perplexed. Well, I don't know, he said, and Goku seemed puzzled by the prospect, which Naruto understood. He was thinking about what he had done to Grandpa Gohan as a child and whether his new sense of balance with a tail might throw him off. He had difficulties with balance since he lost his tail as a toddler, and it would be the same again if he regained it. He had grown accustomed to not having it. But Nappa had no idea what Goku was thinking. This Kakarot was being too disrespectful to the king. He may be the king's brother, but the least he could do was agree when the king said something. That's it, pal. Fight me, I'll show you what a tail can do for a Saiyan. Goku reacted curiously to Nappa's challenge. Who smiled and accepted it anyway. Nappa appeared feeble. He could blitz him with a single Kaioken, but let's see how much a tail powers him up. Alright, let's do this. With pleasure. Prepare to bite the dust, Kakarot. Instead of insulting Goku, Nappa's statements piqued his interest. Let's see what he came up with. Kami stared at the two Saiyans ready to go and motioned for them to back off. Mr. Popo, please heal the others, and Goku, you and Nappa can fight over there. Kami gave his consent by pointing to the center of the lookout, but Naruto interrupted him for a second. Wait a second, Kami, can you restore the moon? Using the power ball when possible weakens the user slightly. Maintaining that thing takes a lot of energy and concentration after all. Without the power ball, Nappa could fully demonstrate his 40,000 power level. With Nappa alone, Goku will be able to fight on par with Vegeta. Vegeta's great ape in the original was not only the great ape of a hurt Vegeta, but it was also wielding a power ball at the same time, therefore he was not at full strength when he faced Goku. Kami looked shocked for a second before nodding gravely. I see, I will get it done. Sorry, my evil half Piccolo destroyed it a while ago, I didn't get the time to fix it yet. With that stated, Kami focused his eyes, raised his staff, and pointed to the sky. Kami sparkled with a pure white aura, and a see-through shape began to appear in the night sky. Naruto was astounded by what he saw. It was the clothing beam. It is not confined to clothing. Piccolo utilized the same technique to manufacture Gohan's sword and sheath, which is comparable to how Supreme Kai created the Kacchan block. Naruto noticed something as he saw Kami create the moon. The creation and destruction gods have the ability to both create and destroy. Shin, Kami, and Kami's other half Piccolo are all nurturing gods or are related to nurturing gods. Their jobs fall under the category of creation, albeit indirectly. Zamasu was informed this by his master. Then there's the destruction god. We only know one for certain in this universe. Beerus, the top dog, and his destruction realm is Hawkeye. Wait, can I still use the clothes beam? I haven't tried it. Is this something only gods or their followers can do? Hey, doesn't Earth's Kami already have God Ki? Wasn't Den sensing Beerus? So, if I become Earth's Kami, will I just gain God Ki like that? So, that's all I have to do to become a Super Saiyan God. That couldn't be accurate, can it? So if Goku accepted the role of Kami in Dragon Ball, he would instantly become God. Huff, we are done. Naruto was shaken out of his grumpy thoughts by Kami's remarks. God or something, he would ask Kami later. For the time being, he wanted to know how Kaioken was done. Goku's best move, and Naruto knew he could replicate it. If Goku could do it, so could he, because the same genetics are at work here. Goku and Nappa were facing each other on the lookout, and Goku was leaping up and down, loosening his muscles. Nappa similarly lowered his body to take his unique position, then smirked and pointed at his scouter. Let's see what you got, Kakarot. Beep, beep, beep. What? 5,000. Impossible. Nappa, his head dripping with light sweat, stared intently at Goku, who appeared comfortable but attentive. But Naruto couldn't stand by and let Nappa begin the combat with incorrect information. He had to at least educate him of his opponent's capabilities. So Naruto folded his hands and spoke to Nappa. Nappa, don't be fooled, Kakarot isn't 5,000, he is suppressing himself. He is over 8,000. Sorry, fellas, no over 9,000 jokes here, sticking to the canon over 8,000. Nappa's lips widened in disbelief, widening his eyes. What? Over 8,000? How is that possible? Aren't you a low class? No, it makes sense. You are the brother of the Saiyan King Naruto, and he is the legendary Super Saiyan. Nappa exhaled, removing his overconfidence before confronting Goku. He was going to take this seriously now. Nappa concentrated his concentration on the newly produced moon and began to experience the primal metamorphosis that every Saiyan goes through. Goku was taken aback and jumped out of the way of the approaching Oazru, his eyes widening. So this is what happens. After Goku first saw an Uzaru, he realized he must have transformed into something similar after he killed Grandpa Gohan. And his ki is big. As his blood began to pump, Goku became anxious to fight. If this guy was the weaker of the two, how strong was the other? And how strong was Naruto, who defeated him? Even Kaioken times 4 won't cut it, and King Kai warned me not to go above a 2. I guess I just need to see what I am made of. Sorry, King Kai. Nappa had finished transforming just as Goku was planning battle plans, and his crimson eyes were menacingly fixed on him. Here I come, Kakarot. A loud booming voice resonated, and Nappa quickly flashed towards Goku, assuming Goku was 8,000 plus and could finish it off in one swing. But Goku's unexpected red aura and the stinging pain on his chin derailed his preparations. Stumbling back from the kick, Nappa took a defensive stance. Typically, he would have roared, but this was the king's brother, and who knows what he had up his sleeve. What was that? That was hardly an 8,000 strong attack. Nappa inquired sternly, stroking his chin, which was becoming less painful by the second due to the sheer resilience of an Uzaru. Goku also cancelled the crimson aura that was enveloping him and dropped on the ground, his breathing becoming much more rapid and his hands shaking. He had just used a Kaioken 3 times. If someone had been counting, they would have discovered he was above 24,000 in that split second. Man, this is intense. I feel like I have broken my bones. King Kai wasn't kidding, huh? Mumbled Goku, but the smile was still on his face. The only change was that it was a little unpleasant. Looking at Nappa and laughing in pain, Goku just told his opponent his technique. It would be more fun that way. I just used Kaioken. It multiplied my vitality with each use. I am not supposed to go beyond a 2, but I ended up using a 3, but it's still not enough, hehe. Goku's remarks just shocked Nappa. A technique for increasing power. Does he mean twice or 3 times? That explains the intensity of the pain. You struck me with a power level exceeding 24,000. However, I possess 40,000 Kakarot, making it impossible for you to overcome me, especially since just 3 strikes have caused you significant distress. Nappa launched his attack with a fierce determination. showcasing the near-perfect training of his and Vegeta's Uzaru form. Nappa, similar to Vegeta, exhibited remarkable speed even in his Uzaru form, which caught Goku off guard during their canonical battle. It appears that he was taken by surprise, even in this context, as this situation deviated from the norm. Typically, the larger entities tend to exhibit slower behavior. As Goku rose from the cracked tiles, he swiftly maneuvered to avoid the impending descent of Nappa's Uzaru leg, which was about to make contact. Oh my, Kaioken ×3. Bam! Nappa successfully intercepted Goku's kick and promptly retaliated, causing Goku to employ a threefold Kaioken technique to evade the attack. However, he was rapidly losing strength. This marked the first occasion he had employed Kaioken in a battle, and he was a far cry from the Goku who had mastered its use in brief intervals against Frieza. It appears that Goku is facing significant challenges. Krillin remarked, having just returned from receiving medical attention. While the others were still receiving their treatment, he chose to observe the fight alongside Naruto. Observing the battle intently, Naruto provided his insights. Brother has yet to master this new technique. Once he does, he will become a formidable presence. Naruto remained silent as he focused on replicating the technique through observation. This was a goal he was determined to achieve, especially since even Yamcha had managed to accomplish it. Not everyone is susceptible to mind reading. Individuals like Frieza cannot simply be approached to replicate their thoughts or abilities. He was enhancing his key sense to replicate techniques solely through intuition. Indeed, that is accurate. However, if Goku is struggling against Nappa, we would have faced significant challenges without your support. Naruto remained silent, subtly twitching his lips in response to Krillin's statement, acknowledging the truth that Goku does manage to save the day in the series. Given his capabilities, he would certainly devise a solution if the situation became critical. At this moment, he is intentionally evading Nappa's tail. His motivation stems from a genuine desire to engage in combat. In a real battle, he would have targeted the tail directly and kept Kaioken as an unexpected tactic. Inhaling deeply, Naruto placed his hand on his chest. I am aware of his exceptional battle intelligence. He certainly inherits the trait from our father. Krillin smiled, scratching his cheek with a look of nostalgia. You make a valid point. Goku certainly demonstrates a strong understanding of the situation. With that, both fell silent, their sole focus on observing the colossal giant engage in battle with a swift red blur. Goku, Nappa, Naruto, and Krillin were all engaged in the fight, each enjoying the experience in their unique manner. This exemplified the straightforward nature of a warrior's life. A few days elapsed following the confrontation between Goku and Nappa. This encounter once again demonstrated to Naruto Goku's exceptional fighting abilities, as he successfully engaged Uzaru Nappa in a stalemate. No one emerged victorious, yet engaging in a battle with such a significant disparity was unimaginable for others. Nappa should not have sustained injuries of that nature. Kakarot. Naruto's head turned upon hearing Nappa's murmurs, and he observed Nappa attempting meditation, struggling due to his anger. Recognizing that this approach was unsustainable, Naruto abandoned the work on Android T's torso and approached Nappa. King. Nappa opened his eyes without prompting, eliciting a smile from Naruto. It was evident that Nappa could now sense his presence, despite being frequently distracted by his defeat to Goku. Nappa possessed considerable talent and had accumulated more experience than many others. Aware of this, Naruto was endeavoring to harness that potential. I have high expectations for my right-hand man, and you successfully mastered sensing in just 3 days. Outstanding work. However, Nappa, to achieve further growth, it is essential to learn how to maintain composure. I perceive a path forward for every Saiyan, but it cannot be realized with a mindset clouded by anger. Nappa lowered his head in contemplation, reflecting on Naruto's words. Acknowledging Naruto as the legendary Super Saiyan, he recognized the validity of his feelings regarding their potential. He struggled to comprehend the notion of Kakarot nearly overcoming him. After all, he was Uzaru, and such an outcome was unexpected. It is regrettable to have lost my inaugural battle as your trusted advisor, Your Majesty. With a wave of his hand, Naruto seated himself in midair, his hands elegantly folded. Do not concern yourself with it. My brother exemplifies the qualities of a true warrior, demonstrating remarkable capacity for critical thinking in challenging circumstances. Nappa nodded his head and sighed, fully aware of the situation, yet the manner of his defeat still troubled him. However, he will no longer display his anger. He was also a Saiyan, a naturally born warrior, with the instinct to fight ingrained in every Saiyan's essence, and Nappa possessed that as well. I will overcome Kakarot. Nappa chose to direct his anger towards defeating Goku, and Naruto had no objections to this approach. Goku had issued several challenges, and Naruto found that he could defeat Goku without the need for transformation, leading to a sense of monotony in the battles. Goku had not yet completed his training regimen on Namek. He was only marginally stronger than when he departed from King Kai. In contrast, Naruto was consistently enhancing his abilities through natural progression, with his Uzaruta-based transformation method facilitating his growth. Focus on your task and do not allow anger to divert your attention any further. While I can accept losses, my right-hand man cannot consistently face defeat. I acknowledge your point, King. Nappa offered a respectful salute to Naruto, smiling, but just as he was about to speak again. Hello, brother. Nappa clenched his teeth as he turned his attention towards the sky, where Goku was descending. Kakarot appears to be unaware that King is showing him leniency due to their familial connection. Nappa felt a mix of anger and a sense of pride in Goku's determination to return each day, despite facing repeated defeats. Rising from the ground, Nappa approached Goku with a threatening demeanor, pointing his finger at Goku's chest. Kakarot, it takes a lot of audacity to visit the royal palace on a daily basis. Visits are permitted only upon invitation. With a somber expression, Goku attempted to maneuver his way in as he typically did. Please don't be like that, Nappa. It will be enjoyable. Chi-Chi is absent, and Gohan is currently resting. I arrived promptly after he fell asleep. If I delay, he may awaken. Moving his lips in a subtle manner, Nappa reprimanded Goku without restraint. Your companion exhibits a similar lack of judgment as you, Kakarot, choosing to venture into the city we were assaulting while carrying a substantial collection of books, intending for your child to study amidst the conflict. It raises the question, who would make such a decision? The military forces of this planet were launching an assault on the location. Your boredom is not the king's concern. Were you not planning to revive your colleague? Proceed promptly and depart immediately. Goku let out a sigh, resembling a wilting plant. However, the Dragon Balls will not be recharged for a full year. I have just been revived and must wait another year to bring her back. That situation is unjust. My brother is the king, and he has no objections to my presence here. However, prior to any further debate between Nappa and Goku, Nappa's scouter activated with a beep. Beep beep beep. The sound was a consistent, uninterrupted beep, indicating an incoming call rather than a power scan. Nappa widened his eyes as he turned to Naruto, acknowledging the person who was calling him. King. It is Vegeta. Should I proceed with the acquisition? This prompted Naruto to raise his eyebrows, as Vegeta's call was unexpected, leading him to give a nod. Naruto observed as Nappa activated the scouter's loudspeaker function. Vegeta. Nappa spoke in a composed manner, leading to a brief silence from the other side, until Vegeta's voice finally responded. Nappa, Frieza has located a distinct set of Dragon Balls, separate from those on Earth, and he intends to use them to achieve immortality. What is happening? Nappa reacted with alarm, as the news was extremely troubling. Both Naruto and Goku began to pay close attention, with Naruto anticipating the information and Goku recognizing the individual responsible for the destruction of his family and race. Vegeta, exhibiting a singular focus, continued to speak in a serious tone. I do not anticipate that someone of your disposition will be able to intervene effectively. However, please inform the new king that I am proceeding to Namek with the intention of halting his plans and securing immortality for myself. I will return for him shortly, and upon my return, I will reclaim my rightful position as leader. Beep. The communication from Vegeta's side was abruptly terminated, leaving a noticeable silence in the room. Something that Naruto chose to disrupt. We must prevent Frieza from obtaining immortality. Once he achieves that, he will be nearly impossible to defeat, even for me. Frieza will inevitably pursue us. As Saiyans, our survival is at stake. It is prudent for us to confront him proactively while we have the opportunity. Nappa and Goku acknowledged Naruto's statement with a nod, indicating that a journey to outer space is imminent. Following several discussions, Goku proceeded to contact the remaining Z fighters, while Naruto took the opportunity to converse with Bulma and assess the progress of the spaceship they were constructing together. Nappa was contemplating the Dragon Balls and the potential wishes they could grant. Perhaps he should consider making a wish if the opportunity arises. Naruto was enjoying a leisurely day with Bulma on the beach at Kame House, both dressed in their swimsuits. Pai was descending to her former hideout to demonstrate to Jin the significance of her mother's side home. Unfortunately, Launch had returned to the otherworld, a role that does not offer many holidays. The wind was gently blowing, the sea birds were calling, and the atmosphere was tranquil, with one exception. "Is there something troubling you, Naruto?" Bulma inquired with concern, to which Naruto responded with a nonchalant shrug, his eyes closed. "I'm curious about what led you to that conclusion." Noticing the veins protruding across Naruto's body, a result of what Bulma perceived as intense anger, she spoke in an unusual tone. "It appears that you are quite agitated." Naruto's expression shifted to one of comprehension, and as he opened his eyes, Bulma was taken aback by their yellow hue. She was aware of his transformation, but she was uncertain about the reasons for its application in this context. "What is the purpose of your transformation?" "Today is dedicated to relaxation, as we will be departing for Namek tomorrow." Ignoring her comments, Naruto shut his eyes once more. Still, his veins stayed visible, indicating he had not reversed his change. Naruto murmured with a comfortable voice, hands under his head, breathing deeply. "I am relaxing. This training functions best when I do. You know I can't take it lightly. I am going to battle Frieza, the strongest guy in the universe." Bulma sat up and set her phone down, tilting her head to hear what Naruto was so concerned about. "But utilizing that shape of yours, can't you keep growing stronger? Your upper limit was so great the computer crashed. I looked at your energy readings earlier." Naruto grumbled, sighing as he recalled their effort to determine what his complete boost would be in the computer exploding like their scouters. "Theoretically, I can grow and grow the more I access my Uzaru's base strength, but I cannot do that physically. When the boost is too great, I always mess up and go full Uzaru. I just cannot maintain all that pressure inside me." Bulma hummed, getting into her scientist mood. "What, then, is your current situation? Does this help in any way?" Naruto's body relaxed and his eyes returned to normal as he opened his eyes, nodded his head, and exhaled. Naruto said, flexing his now relaxed arm, "This does indeed assist me increase my upper limit. What I'm doing is really easy. I am pushing myself to the exact brink of what I can tolerate, the very edge after which any more pressure will cause me to slip." Naruto revealed his modifications. First his eyes turned yellow, next his hair began to fly, and last his veins began to show. "Look at that. The more I apply my Uzaru's base power, the more my energy builds. Nonetheless, the pressure I must maintain controlled rises as well. I am therefore attempting to acclimatize to this condition. I am attempting to turn it into something I could utilize when sleeping." Realization sinking in, Bulma cried out with wide-open eyes. "Ah, now I understand what you are attempting to do. Once you become accustomed to this degree of energy, you will once more drive yourself to a new limit, right? You can practically keep expanding till this change runs out." Smirking arrogantly, Naruto hummed. She was exactly right. He might not have Broly's luxury of not having a tail and hence not have to stress about slipping up. But he did know how Saiyan bodies functioned. This sort of training where change becomes one's natural state is something he borrowed from Goku. Goku's best creation was Gohan's perfected Super Saiyan, which was currently assisting Naruto with his issues. "Very clever of you, that is the gist of it." Bulma grinned and adjusted her hair. She appreciated Naruto's praise and understood that the stronger he became, the safer they both were. Knowing he was practicing to beat Frieza, she let him be. However, the ridiculous approach to training was very beneficial. "You know you're like a cheat. You can increase yourself to 5 times, then lie around resting, and after a few days that's your normal state. You can just keep repeating this till this change runs dry. You can lie around again after boosting yourself up to 10 times. Remembering the exploded PC, she grinned. Running dry, then, isn't happening anytime soon if that reading gave any indication. Laughing heartily, Naruto speculated on Bulma's response if she realized even his foundation was always advancing. He had basically guaranteed that he could sit and eat, but both his foundation and his metamorphosis would continue to become stronger. That was the outcome of maximizing his Saiyan body's use. Its capacity to change was really great. I can't really sit and loaf about, because the time I am saving will be spent to perfect super instinct. Sometimes Naruto could barely trigger Omen by coincidence, but that was far from adequate. He had to grasp the whole thing. He was working for it every day. All he did was instinct training. His power level would eventually rise with time. I am no cheat. This is simply how Saiyans are. We aren't labeled a warrior species for nothing. We have evolved to fight in your terms. If there was one species with the most potential in the cosmos, it would be us. Bulma got up after a few seconds and Naruto felt something on his lips as she bent down and smiled slyly. He didn't open his eyes. You are rather cool, yes, but don't train all day today. I want you to be fresh for tomorrow. We have to create a global journey. I'll tell my sister what should catch my eye. Mumbled by Bulma, the last line reflected her slight concern that Naruto might battle this Frieza fellow. She was not displaying it since she did not want to pressure him. She had spoken to Nappa previously, and from what she understood, he was bad news. Hence, she chose to accompany him. Come what may, she would be there for him. Everyone was going except for Yajirobe. That guy was hell-bent on squandering his potential and no one could do anything about it. The rest of the Z fighters got ready in their own way while Naruto and Bulma did their thing. The next day had come and everyone was here in a pleasant attitude. The Z fighters' break of leisure appeared to have gone well. Gohan's overexcited look compensated for Piccolo's continuous sadness. Everyone else was happy. Speaking of Gohan, Goku and Ox King were handling Gohan on their own now that Chi-Chi was gone. Goku especially was doing really well at that as well. Goku was teaching Gohan like he did in canon, when they both departed for the time chamber, with patience and understanding, giving him books left at home on an opportune moment, how to fight, how to relax. Gohan was now experiencing a fair growth in his life. Goku even brought out the turtle hermit approach for Gohan. Eat and sleep lots, study properly and work hard. The turtle hermit approach to learning is that. What Roshi said to Goku and Goku now told Gohan made the boy appear more like a happy child than a crying wreck. Gohan, you have become strong, Naruto said, to which Gohan grinned broadly and scratched the back of his head much like his father. Thanks Uncle Naruto, father taught me plenty. Naruto found it funny that Gohan was coming to Namek merely for a training tour since the boy exclaimed joyfully with his head held high. The youngster was becoming more and more like his Cell Games avatar, a strong yet cheerful fighter who despised senseless opponent death. Frieza goons aren't going to let Gohan go simply because he let them go. That last bit is something Gohan will get to re-evaluate following our trip to Namek. Not only will Gohan develop further as a warrior after this voyage, everyone here will also get to experience space combat for the first time in their lives. The real truth is not everyone will come out unscathed. How many will survive is a question best left unasked. Frieza is not a joke, especially since that even Naruto wasn't able to defeat him. He was still about 20,000 in base, his Akari boost was 7 times maximum, and as a last-ditch effort he could break out Kaioken times 3. It wasn't nearly enough to kill Frieza. I have to maximize this gravity chamber. I need a speedy boost. Who knows whether brother can change against Frieza this time. Naruto was considering his prospects versus Frieza and would have thought more if not for Dr. Briefs, who emerged from the vessel. Dr. Briefs presented the ship in depth to all, nodding to himself with a job well done. Massive ship with room left for Z fighters to practice, it could fit all of them together. A button for food. Naruto grumbled after noticing a food processing button. It was a general food manufacturing machine, but its placement was somewhat odd to him. Seeing how Goku was holding it and contemplating whether to push it. The coffee machine just there contains every sort of coffee you can think of. said Dr. Briefs, presenting his final innovation. It was also the last item on this ship left to present. He was nearly finished. Piccolo was tapping his foot in annoyance. He couldn't utilize any of this, so he didn't care. He just wanted to go on. That is roughly all. Should I say it again? Something you don't get. No. The Z warriors together stated. Dr. Briefs agreed without rage. He was a totally relaxed guy. Naruto reboarded the ship and the automatic door opened effortlessly. Bulma was strolling with him into their room. Will this be our room for some time? Not too terrible. Hey Bulma, can you make sure this ship is parked in the sky? We're talking about Frieza. He could destroy the world anytime he chose. Bulma fell onto the bed, lying with her hands and legs splayed apart, putting her bag down on the table. She wasn't too concerned looking up at the white ceiling of the ship she too had hand in making. There is an autopilot feature. It will remain out of sight until we want it, so I have considered it previously. Naruto was glad to hear that. He couldn't emphasize the necessity for this ship to not catch fire too much. Naruto wasn't going to bet on the possibility of getting Yodrat. Goku had already experienced that destiny in the original. You rest. I'll be off. I have to train and build my base strength. Though he will naturally develop because of his created technique, training will accelerate this adaptation more quickly. To defeat Frieza, he will need raw might, not technique. Unless he can harness Ultra Instinct right away, it will only carry him so far against someone like Frieza. It's been a few days since the Z fighters set off on their journey to Namek, and right now, Naruto is in the gravity room, training just for himself. Haha, Naruto's body type was all about swift and nimble movements. He had a naturally large frame with big muscles, which meant his attacks packed a punch with both weight and power. He just didn't have that natural speed and quickness. Haha, Naruto threw another quick jab at a hologram of Frieza, really honing in on his weak point for this session, his agility. This issue was just part of his build, but the compact muscles Naruto developed from his Uzaru training were really giving him a boost in both speed and power. Come on, Bulma, cut it out. Naruto panted as he spoke, having been battling a second form Frieza hologram for days. These models were crafted from his memories of Frieza's fighting style. Okay, I'm going to switch off the gravity now. As Naruto took a break, Bulma called out and switched off the gravity. She was there to watch him train and gather some live data for her holographic model. She had the job of making them as realistic as she could, and aside from some actual tactile feedback, everything else was pretty much done. Zoom. The room let out a noise and suddenly stopped dragging Naruto down, returning to the usual gravity we experience on Earth. Bulma opened the door, walked in with a towel, and approached Naruto. You've been making great strides, but it seems like your growth is starting to slow a bit now that you've reached 150,000. Bending down, Bulma started to wipe Naruto's long spiky hair, while he just lay on the ground, completely worn out. With a light voice, Naruto turned his eyes towards Bulma and said, I knew this was going to happen eventually. It's been a while since I fully transformed into an Uzaru, and I've already gotten used to my old strength. Unless I go full Uzaru again and let my body adjust, I'm not going to see any quick growth. Bulma gave a soft hum as she listened to Naruto's worries. By now, she was aware of the two main ways Naruto trained. One involved physically conditioning himself to match his Uzaru's strength, and then gradually allowing his base to catch up to that level. So, the second thing was all about pushing Akari to new limits. One was for base training, and the other was for transformation training. But in this spaceship, he could only focus on the transformation training, not the base stuff. As Bulma wiped away the sweat from her brow, she couldn't help but think about what she could do to tackle this challenge. It was a bit of a technical puzzle for her, and she was determined to figure it out. Give me a moment, and I'll see what I can do about it. With a questioning eyebrow raised, Naruto asked as he slowly got to his feet. What are your thoughts on this? This spaceship just doesn't have enough room for me to go Uzaru. After putting the towel away, Bulma plopped down next to Naruto, who was now sitting up cross-legged. I own the Capsule Corporation, you know. Space has never really been our thing. Our whole product line is all about fitting bigger things into smaller spaces. With a smile, Bulma shared her idea with Naruto. I was chatting with Krillin the other day, and he mentioned there's a time chamber up on the lookout. He said it just keeps going with no end in sight. I believe I can use our capsule technology to create something similar. The core technology of the chamber looks pretty much the same, but it won't have time dilation. I'm still figuring out how to handle that part. Naruto quickly wrapped his arms around Bulma in a tight hug, exclaiming with amazement. You're the best, Blue. With a playful smile, Bulma returned the hug and then casually closed the automatic door to the training room, locking it with her remote. Absolutely. Alright, let's take a moment to chill, Naruto. As Naruto looked at the stunning Bulma and the shut training door, he thought it might be a good idea to take a break. After all, there was no need to spend all his time punching that ugly Frieza in the face. He'll let Goku handle that part. Honestly, he wasn't too concerned, especially now that Bulma was confident she could whip up something similar. He'd be getting it pretty soon. If all goes smoothly, he should hit around 1.5 million in base when they get to Namek. With a click, the whole side of Naruto and Bulma's house locked up, and a bewildered Krillin stared at it, looking pretty confused. Oh man, Bulma's probably tinkering with the ship again. It was working perfectly. He mumbled that he, Gohan, Tien, and Chiaotzu were just chilling on the sofa. So, Piccolo and Goku were in the training room, while Nappa and Yamcha were hanging out in the cafeteria. The others were just waiting for their turn. Krillin saw Gohan fidgeting a little and asked with a hint of worry. Gohan, what's going on? Feeling hungry? Gohan shook his head, a faint blush creeping onto his cheeks as he spoke, his voice tinged with a hint of helplessness. I really want to train more. I'm good for now, and I've wrapped up my studies for the day. Krillin rubbed his chin, thinking about Gohan's problem and how he might be able to lend a hand to the kid. Tien opened his eyes too, and it looked like he had something up his sleeve. Are you interested in doing some image training? It might not boost your raw strength, but it will definitely refine your technique. Gohan felt a mix of confusion and excitement about this new technique he just heard about. I'm not sure how to do that. With a smile on his face, Krillin strolled over to Gohan and extended his hand. Just take my hand and feel my ki. When we do this together, it'll create a link if we're close enough. That space can be used for image training. Gohan nodded, feeling a bit uncertain, but he held onto Krillin's hand. In just a few moments, he started to sense Krillin's ki. In the next moment, he found himself in the image training zone. After letting go of Gohan's hand, Krillin proudly praised him. Hey Gohan, you really are something else. You nailed that super quick. With a shy glance downwards, Gohan scratched his cheek. He felt like he wasn't anything too special, especially with so many people stronger than him around. So, when his dad and uncle were putting in all that hard work, even though they were already so strong, it made him think there was really no reason for him to feel special. I'm all set. Let's get started. Gohan took a seat, and the other Z fighters followed suit, forming a circle as they faced one another. Everyone was gearing up for a showdown in the image training zone, getting ready to face off against what could be a whole army. They figured this was the quickest way to get their coordination down. After all, they didn't want to trip over each other when the real battle started. Frieza's third form had his long head slammed down onto the ground, and the impact cracked his skull and twisted his face. But the attacker just wouldn't let up. Frieza's body kept flopping around the place. Unfortunately for the attacker, it looks like the furious Frieza finally got his moment to strike back, and his thick tail came crashing down on the guy in the white armor. Naruto's chest sank as his armor crumpled, and he was launched through the air, crashing into several trees before finally splashing down into a lake. Holding his breath, Naruto quickly tried to swim back out, his yellow eyes shining with power. Just when he was about to come up for air, something grabbed his head firmly from above. Frieza's three-fingered feet were holding him down underwater, and the more he struggled, the further back his head was pushed. Even his skull was feeling the pressure, as Frieza was squeezing it with all his might. It was like he wanted it to burst open like a watermelon. Naruto's eyes shone with an intense yellow glow, but nothing happened. His strength just couldn't match up. Ugh, come on. It seemed like he was hitting a wall. The non-stop struggle was draining his energy, and his lungs felt like they were on fire. He managed to keep going for so long through all that pain because Pai Pai was there, giving him tips on how to save energy while underwater. But everything comes to an end, even his lung capacity. Here's a little something to catch your interest. Water rushed down Naruto's throat, burning his lungs. His struggle grew weaker and weaker as he clung to Frieza's feet, feeling hopeless. Even the yellow glow began to flicker in his eyes, and his Akari was slipping away as he struggled to maintain his focus. Right before Naruto's light faded away completely, his body burst into a vibrant red aura. The ki burst completely shattered the lake, giving Naruto a moment to catch his breath. He took that one gasp of breath to grip Frieza's legs and flipped himself up, landing a solid kick right to Frieza's face with his muscular leg. Frieza loosened his grip and went flying through the green fields, while Naruto quickly brushed it off and straightened himself up. He was breathing heavily, his whole body soaked from the water, and his mane was dripping with sweat. That's enough. The red aura around Naruto disappeared, triggering a chain reaction that made the whole environment start flickering in and out of existence. In just a few more seconds, everything around disappeared completely. Naruto's armor was free of any water stains, and there was no lake or trees in sight. Everything around was gone. All that was left was the pain Naruto felt in the half-broken android T. Naruto was catching his breath when the door to the gravity room swung open, and a bunch of people rushed in, each showing a mix of emotions on their faces. Nappa was the first one to wake Naruto up. Everyone had watched the whole fight. It was really just a preview of what was coming next. Bulma came up with the idea while she was tinkering with the holograms, and Naruto was on board to make it happen. But after seeing that fight, it felt less like a fun challenge and more like a punch to the face. King, how come Frieza is so strong? Looks like even the legendary Super Saiyan can't take him down. Once he cleared his throat a bit more, Naruto regained his composure and thought about how to react to the startled Nappa. This setup was more than just a simulation. The attacks he faced were the real deal. He was under immense gravity all by himself, while Android T, playing the role of Frieza, was completely free from any gravity. This made it super easy for Bulma to simulate a real opponent. She did something similar in the canon, but back then, it was just basic drones that went after Vegeta. So, in this scenario, the presence of Android T led her down a whole new route. Instead of dealing with flying robots, she faced an android that was disguised with a hologram and ended up attacking the user. Frieza, if you really want to know what I think, I honestly believe your full power is over 100 million. It's just a vibe I've gotten whenever I've been around you. I'm pretty sure this is accurate, but I remember coming across these forms by chance when I sneaked into King Cold's palace. Naruto explained how he knew about Frieza's forms, and believe it or not, it really happened. The original Naruto once found himself wandering down a corridor he probably shouldn't have been in, and there were portraits showcasing various forms of Frieza's race. It could have been just one guy's transformation, or maybe it was different folks from the Frieza race, like King Cold himself. Not many people were aware of Frieza's transformations, so Raditz didn't link them to any changes. But hey, this was a great cover for Naruto. Wait, Frieza is over 100 million. Nappa finally got the words out, and everyone was pretty shocked after witnessing the fight. They were all at a loss for how to deal with the fact that he wasn't even at his final form yet. Now that they realize how slim their chances are, their plan to see what they were up against doesn't seem like such a great idea anymore. They had just a few days left to get to Namek, and the Z fighters really needed to come up with a plan fast if they wanted to stand a chance against Frieza. Stay tuned for more. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this video. I'm thrilled you watched the video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe for even more exciting content coming your way soon.